Hey everyone, what we're going to look at in this video is we are going to learn how to navigate that second octave of our 2-octave G major scale. So as we start from the beginning of our 2-octave scale, we're going to be on our second finger G on our E string, and our first octave is going to be totally normal. Fourth finger on our D string, as you know. Now, when we're going up our second octave, we're going to have our open G, that first finger A, our fourth finger B. We're going to slide up into third position with a first finger C natural, fourth finger D. Now here is a good spot for a checkpoint. Make sure your fourth finger D is in the right spot. We can check that with our open D string. If we play them together, they should sound nice. If our fourth finger is not quite in the right spot, we hear that it is not a pleasant sound. But if it's right in tune, we'll get that nice sound there. So now we have our fourth finger D, and our next note up we can assume is going to be an E. So where are we going to want to go from there? We're going to slide our first finger up past our fourth finger D. We'll have that first finger E. How do we know that first finger E is right? Well, we can do another checkpoint. What we're going to want to do is we're going to play our first finger E on our D string. We should know pretty comfortably where that first finger goes if we're doing 2-octave scales. So let's play that first finger E. High first finger. It should go pretty nicely there. You can also check it on our open E, but that may be a little harder for us to tell. So now that we have our E, we know that we have an F sharp right after that. So again, we're going to go to a fourth finger here, and this fourth finger will be our F sharp. How do I know that that one's in tune? Two different ways we can try it. We can play a fourth finger F sharp on our D string, and then compare. Or we can play our F sharp in our open D string. And if we play them together, we should have that nice, open, kind of happy sound there. If our fourth finger is a little high, it's too low, also not quite there, but if it's right where it needs to be, get that nice, smooth, open sound. So then, our last note here, as we know, for our 2-octave G major scale, we are going to have a high G. Now this G, we're going to play as a harmonic, and what that means is that we're going to touch the string with our finger, but we're not going to press down. Our finger is going to be there to kind of create a new effect for us. So if we want to think about it visually, our G harmonic is going to be halfway between the bridge and the nut up here. And what we'll do is we're going to use our ring finger. We haven't really used this before in any of our other positions back here. Now we're going to use our ring finger. It's just going to touch the string there, and it is going to give us this nice floaty kind of G. And it should ring very nicely. If your finger is not in the right spot, you're going to feel a lot of shaking on your finger here, or it's not going to sound quite right. So if it plays nice and easy, without a lot of buzz on your finger, you know you've got it in the right spot. So let's review that going back up. So we've got our open G, first finger A, fourth finger B, C natural, fourth finger D. We'll checkpoint here. Good to go. First finger E, fourth finger F sharp, checkpoint here. Good to go, and then our high G. check that one. There we go, good. First finger E, fourth finger D. Let's double check that. All right, C natural, fourth finger B, first finger A, open G. All right, so going through with no stops there should be kind of like this. Down to the bottom of our first octave. However, since we're all hopefully pretty comfortable with our first octave already, the big thing will be to practice that second octave. And maybe not the entire second octave, because we should hopefully know where our G, A, B, C natural, and D are. So we can practice E, F sharp, G, getting our fingers correct there. And what that may look like as we're practicing is actually starting on a fourth finger D. Practice going from D to E, and then back to D, back to E. Actually, our F sharp to G, at least for me, is a little more challenging because it's a smaller movement, but we're also going from a fourth finger to a third finger. So getting used to that little transition there is going to be a big thing, at least for me. And what we can do is I have identified a spot where I need to work on that just a little bit, but it may be different for you. And what you'll want to do is isolate and repeat, but make sure you're practicing correctly. Remember, repetition legitimizes. So if we practice it wrong, we're going to think it's correct. If we practice it correct, we'll be okay. Hopefully this helps. Good luck practicing.